You're listening to the Marne Report.
Hey, Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield. It's your host, Brian Lund, with another edition of the Marne Report Podcast. And today we have Major Richard Barrett, Law Enforcement Operations Officer. How you doing today?
Good morning. Good.
So I did say you were a Law Enforcement Operations Officer. Can you tell us about what you do around the rock?
Basically what I do is I run the day-to-day operations of the police department for here in Hunter Army Airfield. Everything that comes into the department kind of filters through me, and then I push it up to the chiefs and decision-making. We also help with setting up all the events, your 4th of July, your concert events. We set up everything for that to get the proper people out to have the security and everything for everybody who enjoys coming out for these events.
Yes, sir. And you did mention 4th of July. So 4th of July is coming up. It's an exciting time for everybody, but we want to make sure people stay safe. Yes. So I'm just want to ask general 4th of July questions and see if we can get some safety tips and some advice for you.
Okay.
So first, are there any local regulations or laws regarding fireworks here?
Yes. On Fort Stewart, fireworks are not allowed. It's a federal law as far as for military installations that are not allowed. In the state of Georgia itself, you can have fireworks as long as they don't shoot to the air. There's a restriction. I'm not exactly sure what that height is, but anything that fires into the sky. So you can have all the bottle rockets that are, low to the ground, your snap pops and stuff like that. But yeah, on a federal installation, you're not allowed to have fireworks at all.
Yes, sir. And can you give us, I guess, a few general safety tips about fireworks to make sure we're keeping families and children safe?
Sure, if you are using fireworks.
Yes,
basically, always have children supervised. Parents, make sure that you understand how the fireworks work. Don't mess with them if you're not sure how they're going to react whenever you light them up or whatever. But just basically using common sense. Just understand what you're playing with and make sure we supervise children that are trying to have fun with the parents.
Yes, sir. And inevitably, there are some bad things that could happen. So
correct.
We want to make sure that we're prepared for emergencies. How can we get in contact, I guess, with DS or law enforcement to make sure things are going smoothly?
Well, 911, of course, is always the primary. Call 911 if there's an injury or you have a report to do, and 911 will go ahead and dispatch law enforcement, EMS, or fire to wherever that location is. If you have a complaint that you'd like to make, you can contact the Fort Stewart MP station and let them know, and then we'll go ahead and have a unit come out there and check out whatever's going on. But the easier way is go through 911 and just let them know.
Not only is it 4th of July, but it is the beginning of summertime, so I think it is appropriate that we do some summertime safety tips.
Sure.
So I want to go down a line of a few things that do commonly happen throughout the summer, and can we get some maybe one or two few tips for each one?
Sure.
All right, so first let's do grilling safety.
Grilling. Well, make sure you understand your grill, of course. Propane, make sure that you're using all the safety that you can use. If you're using briquettes, make sure you don't use too much fuel. You don't want to have flare-up. Once again, if something does catch on fire that you can't control, call 911, get the fire department out there. Also ensure that if you're barbecuing, don't have it right near the house. Have it a little safe distance away. And once again, children. Make sure that you supervise your children that they don't get around it while you're cooking, Little hands like to touch everything.
Yes, sir. And so people are going to be grilling outside. So let's talk about the heat and sun. It's getting hot outside. Do we have any tips for that?
Hydration. Drinking lots of water. Yes. You just have to drink lots of water. Make sure that you're monitoring your time outside. The temperatures have been here lately 105 for a heat index. That takes a toll on anybody. If you're enjoying yourself, if you're having beverages of the adult version, make sure that you throw some water in there because, alcoholic beverages will dehydrate you. And if you're out in the sun for a long period of time, you could pass out. You could have a heat stroke or a heat exhaustion type event. So just biggest thing, hydrate. Drink lots of water.
I've heard talks about emergency safety kits, maybe just small boxes of things that people have just on go. Do you have any tips of what should be in people's boxes that they can have?
If you go to places like Walmart, they sell basic first aid kits that would have like ointments, Band-Aids, alcohol pads to clean a wound, some bandages to wrap. Any place you can get a first aid kit, a small first aid kit for $10. So just having something that can control bleeding is the key thing. And then, if you need to bandage something, that's always the key thing. And even if you don't buy a kit, if you have some extra things just laying around, you can use a dish towel, you can use a washcloth if you had to put like a makeshift bandage on someone. So
just the essentials to make sure that you're prepared for the summer.
Exactly.
So I want to talk a little bit about misconceptions. Can you talk about some of the misconceptions people have about maybe it's alcohol consumption, heat and sun, that we can make sure that we're keeping people as safe as possible during this time?
Alcohol will dehydrate you quickly. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not going to tell nobody not to have fun. If that includes an alcoholic beverage, enjoy yourself immensely. Please just make sure that you're watching out for yourself. The hydration drinking too much alcohol and not getting enough water, it just dries the body out, and therefore you can have heat exhaustion, you can have heat stroke, and you can even have bigger problems than that. So enjoy yourself, have fun, but make sure we hydrate with that water.
Yes, sir. And you talked earlier about if maybe there was some complaints that people could reach out to you. Where can people specifically reach out for you?
They could call the MP station here at Fort Stewart, 767-9629, and they can file, if they have a problem that they need to have an officer come out to, or if they just maybe need some help about a question. They can call that phone number and now go directly to the desk sergeant at the Fort Stewart MP station. They can take care of what they need to do. And if there's something that we need to get others involved with, they'll contact the Central 911 Center and we'll get the additional help we need.
Just off the top of your head, do you know about when people are doing the 4th of July ceremonies around Fort Stewart and Hunter Army Airfield?
Yes. Fort Stewart will be hosting its 4th of July on the 1st of July. Hunter Army Airfield will be having their event on the 3rd of July. And I believe Savannah, and I don't want to be quoted, but I believe Savannah is actually doing it on the 4th of July. So, but to cover Hunter and Stewart, 1 July for Fort Stewart, 3 July for Hunter Army Airfield.
And that's just going to be around the time the sun goes down?
Yeah, the events will start kicking off about 1800, and then they'll go up until probably 22 or 2300. Depending on the fireworks duration and stuff,
Yes,
the
sir.
darkness. Here at Fort Stewart, we will have food trucks, beverage trucks, and stuff like that here on Colmar. The event here at Fort Stewart will happen at Cottrell Field, so just be ready that the roadways around Cottrell Field will be blocked off, so you'll have to make adjustments to parking, but there is plenty of parking around the area, so it should be a problem. And then Hunter Army Airfield is the same place that they do theirs all the time, the open airfield. So looks to be a good time. It's going to be hot though.
Yes, it's going to be hot, but it should be a fun time for all. It's just a day to celebrate. So before you go, is there any last tips or advice that you could give Fort Stewart?
The one thing I just want to say is that we're in what's known as the 100 Days of Summer. This is a law enforcement campaign that goes on every year, starts in May and runs all the way up to Labor Day. This is a time where law enforcement is out trying to make everything as safe as possible for people. We ask the people ensure that don't drive, of course, after you've been drinking. Don't drive distracted. If you got to take a cell phone call, then pull off the side of the road. And the other big thing is just make sure that your car is in good operational order. Check it out before you start taking your trips. Safety is the key thing that we want to impress. I know a lot of people think that we're just out there to get them because it's the holidays, the DUI. That's not the intent. The intent is to make sure that you get from point A to point B safely, just basically taking care of each other and looking out, drive safe and arrive alive. That's the key thing.
Yeah, that's our goal. Make sure we just keep people safe, make sure that everybody can enjoy the fun,
Correct.
All right, well, it's been great having you. You've been such a great guest. I want to say thank you to you and your team for all you guys are going to be doing around this time. But that's going to be another wrap of an episode. Thank you guys for listening, and see you guys next week.
The Digital Garrison app is your one-stop source for all things Fort Stewart Hunter Army Airfield. With the DG at your fingertips, you'll never miss out on upcoming events, installation updates, facility and gate information, weather, shopping, and so much more. Digital Garrison is free from your phone's app store. Download today.